morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's your Olinda here again, bringing you the new episode of Opera Weird Season 2. And today, of course, as I said in my last episode, we'll be talking about Matt's new production of Verdi's Aida. Yay! Aida is loud, is sad, is heavy, and the story is about war and love, is about loyalty and betrayal, and the music is some of Verdi's best. So Verdi wrote Aida all the way back to late 19th century, exactly at 1871, I believe, and it was premiered for the opera house in Cali, Cairo, and it received a ground applause as it first premiered, and people started talking about it until for like three centuries until now 2024, right? So what really makes this opera this famous and powerful is not only Verdi's composition but also the story. So we have Aida, who is a slave, and she is not just any slave, otherwise this will be a boring ordinary story. But she is also a princess, but no one knows that. She is in love with Ladames, a soldier, and of course he loves her too. But Egypt is at war with her country, and he was picked to become the general who will lead the army. And Aida is torn, but she loves him, of course. But he is about to fight her people. So Amelise is King's daughter. She also loves Radames, and she knows something is going on between him and Aida. So of course, as any 19th century opera with portray that, of course, she got jealous. I mean, a lot of uh 18th, 19th century classical opera is all about women getting jealous or being emotional or whatever. So yeah, she got jealous and she watches and waits and wants to win him. So later, the Miz comes back from the war. He is the hero. So that was the thing that I played at the beginning of the podcast, the trumpet concerto, right? But things start to fall apart again. Amelius pushes Aida. Aida gives in, and Radames is accused of betrayal. So in the end, Aida hides in his tomb. So they just died together, and the orchestra goes quiet, and this opera ends in silence. So yeah, that's it. So it's basically a love story, of course. So this Matt's new Aida, which is directed by Michael Mayer, who also did the 2018 production of Verdi's La Traviata, which received some critics because at the first scene of La Traviata, we see Violette waking up in a bed, and people just start like dancing around her, and many people, including me, found it pretty much weird. So I think Mayer's main goal is to connect this fresh perspective, is to give this fresh perspective by framing the story through the eyes of 20th century archaeologists. And this approach aims to connect the ancient tale to our contemporary audience in 2024 and 2025. But the reactions have been mixed because, some people, including me, found this concept innovative and there's certain depth added to the narrative. But still, it feels distracted from the core story. I mean, we're still telling about the story that happened, Egypt was, probably 1,000 years ago, yeah. And this contemporary approach seems too far away from it. And in alone saying, the set's design features this blend of ancient Egyptian motifs with these modern elements, and this is just a juxtaposition that is both intriguing and at the same time just confusing. And still, the production's visuals are pretty much colorful and intricate. Susan Hilferty's costumes are wonderful. Yeah, that's what I like about this production. That's one of the things I like about this production. And Aida gets the prettiest of the royal handmaidens' soft white dresses, and Emily's, who is dominant color is red, she wears a feather patterned robe and gold headdress in Act 2. And Oleg Gloshkov makes a memorable Met debut as the choreographer. I mean, the dance of Moorish slaves is now the dance of the handmaiden. Well, yeah, through graceful and fluid, is not much of a stunner. That also goes for the Triumphal March, right? The dance was really terrific, and I mean, it was one of the most memorable scenes from the opera, and I think his choreography did emphasize on that. Wait, at the beginning, did I say trumpet concerto? Oh my god, sorry, I was too much in my band rehearsal. Okay, apologize for that. And thus, the opera house did give the biggest applause to that scene. So now let's talk about the singers. So of course we have Angel Blue, who is both receiving critics from a lot of my friends, but still I like her, and Seo Jong Beck, and also Judith Kudasi. Okay, let's start with Angel Blue. So Angel Blue sings Aida in this production, and this is actually her first time singing the role at a Met, and she steps into the role with care because her voice is really warm. I don't know, but if any of you guys went to her concert at Carnegie Hall with Lang Lang last month, I mean, earlier this month, but it was terrific. Her voice is really warm and clear, and it rises gently. It's not like she is suddenly rushing to any climax of any arias. And she basically let the music flow as well. So in Act 1, she listens more than she moves. You can see her thinking and hiding her feelings. So in Ritorno Vincito, The Return of the Victory, she starts soft and she sings like she is not sure what she feels. Because, on one hand is the return of her love, and on the other hand, the empire or the country that was suffering because of the victory is her mother country. So then she grows. Her voice starts to become open, and you hear the pain and strength. And at the end, she closes again and walks away quietly, and it works. And on Act 2, she sings "O Patria Mia," "Oh My Mother Country," and her voice floats. She does not shout. She lets the notes hang in the air and stand still. She looks out. She sounds tired, but not weak. So that is one of a common problem that some singers, especially sopranos, went into, is that when they're trying to representing a scene that is showing and defining the weakness of the character, they always start too soft or they sound too strong, but it seems like Angel Blue doesn't get that problem. So Angel Blue sounds not weak, just tired from carrying everything, and her face is calm, her voice shakes only a little, and the moment stayed with you even till now. Angel Blue doesn't act with her hands, she does it with her breath, with her eyes, and her singing never feels like a show. It feels like truth. And when you see Radames again in Act 4, her voice doesn't rush, it just falls into places, and she sounds like someone who has already made peace with the end. I mean, a lot of people criticize her for her looking and seems like people are just satisfied with her appearance with the role of Aida. But what I want to say here is, I mean, acting is very important, and how much you fit the role is also very important. But a thing that our audience, including us, should understand is that if you don't like a certain cast, then you probably go to the the other time with alternative cast. And also, I feel like diversity is also very important. You can say like, okay, I don't think this person fits, so we should never let her try this role. I think it is very much important to see how different singers act on a certain role, and it is up to you to make the decision now who you think it fits, but it is more important for you to give them the opportunity to stand on stage with the role. Okay, so enough for that. Let's go to Silk Jong Baek. I first know Baek all the way in early 2024 or late 2023. I can't recall, but it was his debut in Nabucco, and I was sitting in this friend of mine who is a big fan of Seo Baek in Nabucco, and it was terrific. It was amazing. I like Baek, and Baek wasn't supposed to sing Radames, and he stepped in when Baxilla got sick, and he didn't have much time to rehearsal. But again, she sung the whole time with power. I think that's what a mature tenor would do. And even though Beck is still young at this point, but I think he is already showing that he is capable of doing all this and that, right? And really appreciate him for doing this. His voice is really strong and his sound is direct. He sings the high notes without fear, and in Chile's Aida, Dear Aida, he holds the last note longer than expected, which is a great way of showing your techniques. And it rings out, is not soft but steady. He stands still and looks ahead. He doesn't move much, but it still works. Really impressive. And in the tempo scene, he stands tall and his sound fills the space, and he sings like a soldier, looks like one too. And he doesn't try to look romantic, but rather serious, and pretty much fits the story. So in Act 4, when Radames is trapped, his voice got quiet, but still not too soft, just enough to sound defeated. And when he sees Aida in the tomb, he sings with less power but more feelings, and his voice shakes a little, but he stayed focused and ends the opera on the same long tone that he started with, and it feels like a full circle and completed. So, unfortunately, there wasn't too much chemistry between him and Aida. They seems like two strangers just try to finish the scene, but however, I shouldn't use the word however. They just don't touch much and don't look into each other's eyes, which I think they were supposed to do. But you know, their love, the love between Radames and Aida was never free. It was deep. It was controlled. And they are close, but they are also far away from at the same time. And he's Seo Baek's Radames is a man who can't change anything, even though he wants to. And I think Seo Baek more emphasized on the soldier aspect of Radames, and by emphasizing the duty, he just tried to look as calm as possible and act this role that is unchangeable, steady, but also ends with his dedication for love. So Judith Kutasi sings Amaryllis, and she owns the stage when she enters. Her voice is deep, it has weight, which is suitable for the amount of power and role she's in. She controls herself really well, and her Amelise is proud and calm, but under that, you still feel the fire that's in the bone of the character. And in the same with Aida, Kutazi's eyes don't blink. She watches, she circles, and she speaks like a queen. She doesn't yell, she speaks slow, and this is scarier because her voice is cutting through. And in Act 4, she backs the priest. She kneels and she lifts her arms. And you can feel her voice grow louder, then it drops again. She looks like she's about to break but doesn't cry. Her voice sounds like she might, and this moment is big, both emotionally and in the story. And but anyway, she keep it close. So at the end, she stands above the tomb and she hears Radames and Aida died below her, and she sings the last prayer. Her voice is soft now, no more anger, just loose. So Kutase gives Amanias the full shape, the fire, the grief, and she doesn't just play a rival, but as a full person. And she makes you feel her, even if she caused off the pain between Aida and uh, Radames. What I like to say is that Amelius is actually my favorite character here because Kutasi played really, really well. It's not like the zero amount of chemistry between Aida and Radames, between Angel Blue and Shojong Beck, but rather Kutasi is a really good actor that she actually defined her character, just as was wrote on the script 300 years ago, 250, I guess. So I guess this will be the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or opinions on what I said, or just want to talk to me, please email me at aulindatang@gmail.com. It is aulindatang@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in my next episode. Bye!